Well, gaming news this week took a lot of sharp turns that nobody was expecting to see. In the wake of the Bungie layoffs, we have learned that whatever was next for Destiny, whether they were going to call it Destiny 3 or just Destiny, has been shelved. And this has led to both Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy leaving Bungie. Other people have left Bungie as well, not just those who have been laid off. Christopher Barrett, who was formerly directing Marathon, was replaced earlier this year for that role as that project shifted to using hero-based classes as opposed to not, and he summarily apparently has left the company or was laid off, fired, we don't know. And in the wake of this, we are now seeing headlines essentially saying that Destiny 3 is canceled. Now, I will be discussing the future of Destiny in a separate stream later today. It is Friday, and we kick off with gaming news this week. But I want to discuss the future of Destiny with my good friend 30 and Still Gaming, because he and I have been doing shows together for almost 10 years and have been playing the game since the alpha and beta of Destiny 1. So be sure to check that out. But I am going to discuss Destiny in this stream as well with the audience, because I played it a bunch. I covered it a bunch. And, you know, didn't have the greatest end with them in 2021 when I was unjustly banned from the game. And it seems a lot of their hubris and a lot of their self-righteousness has come home to roost, and the future of the game is now uncertain. But it wasn't the only game to see sort of a shift, a change, or a rug pull. Avowed, now delayed into 2025, and just this week, a segment that I do on Monday with Kirk from What's New Video Games said that he thought Avowed should be delayed, the fourth quarter getting stuffed, as it were, as Stalker 2 sees another delay, lands in the fourth quarter. Still no release dates for Indiana Jones or Avowed, and many of us kept saying that's worrisome. Why would you not have release dates for those games? And now Avowed has been pushed into next year. So look forward to a show with Kirk on Monday where I'm going to give him his victory lap and be like, hey, tell him that you called this, that you said this needed to happen. But many are then questioning the cadence of promise from Phil Spencer about one big game a quarter at quality. That did not happen last year with the poor launches of both Redfall and Forza Motorsport. And now this year, all of the first-party Xbox Studio promises for every quarter on Game Pass has turned into just Hellblade 2 so far. So there's definitely things to talk about there. And in the wake of the Bungie layoffs, there seems to be more to the story. Things are continuing to come out, calls for Pete Parsons to step down, and many former employees seemingly being willing to turn and criticize the leadership as more and more information comes out, as well as the future plans for Destiny 2 seeming to change, really reinforcing the idea that that game is headed for end of life. This week, we also looked at the Star Wars Outlaws previews. I did a Star Wars Outlaw preview roundup. Continue to see mixed results for that game. We'll obviously have to wait for it to come out and give you our own thoughts and opinions on it, as well as try to do a review roundup video for you. We want to start doing that if the embargoes drop at the right time. And if you like that kind of content, let us know in the comments if you do enjoy those videos. We also took a look at the Starfield Starborn DLC. Thought that was, I think, a good video and discussion about, hey, this seems to be more than just a DLC. And if you haven't checked out that video, it's doing very well on the channel. Thank you everybody who supported it, watched it, or left a comment. A lot of people are now interested in what's going to happen with Starfield beyond Starfield Shattered Space. And again, we did kind of kick off the week talking about Stalker 2 and if that was going to lead to more delays. So that's pretty much everything that has happened or just suddenly happened in gaming news this week. So if you are here in the live audience, do me a real quick favor, all right? Take a quick second, smash that like button. Yes, we always ask for those likes because it does help the video, and that is something you do totally for free. Make sure you're also subscribed to the channel so you can talk in the chat. And a real quick word to members. There will be a member stream tonight. Madam and I hang out with you guys every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you hit the goal, which you guys have hit goals like this well higher before, we will turn it into a community game night, and we'll be playing Fall Guys, which is free on all platforms. So get that installed. And about 20 people have bumped up to Member Plus. It's $1 more, but what it does is it gets you out of the gifted member pool and it makes room for more people. A lot of people need those gifted members because they can't afford them. So if you can afford your own membership at $6 a month, thank you for those of you that are doing that and continue to do that. We now have about 470 people at Member Plus and above. Every milestone, I'll do a stream with you guys. We'll celebrate. So when we hit 500 people, we'll do a way to celebrate. And then when we hit 600 and so forth, we're wanting to see that number hit about 1,000. So those are all the ways that you can support the channel, either for totally for free, hitting like, hitting subscribe, coming and chatting every day. That's the best way to support. And then if you want to go above and beyond and support directly, the memberships are a great way to do that. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you everybody for being here. Just a little quick 5-minute show open. What do you guys want to talk about? Because buddy, it is getting kind of crazy out here seeing the raucous changes, and I have to thank, oh my gosh, to start things off, a 50 bomb from MASH. He wastes no time. This man is absolutely insane. He doesn't even wait for somebody to do a single or a 5 bomb or a resub. He just comes in swinging with the 50 bomb. And Pac-Man on a bike bumps up to Member Plus. That's another one. That takes us to 370. Thank you so much, Pac-Man on a bike, for doing a VIP subscription. Finally upgraded 90% of the time. I watch the VODs due to my schedule now, but your POBs have been spot on for years. Hope for your continued success. I thank you for that very, very much, Pac-Man on a bike. Those of you that tune in every day, watch the content in its totality, whether it is a live stream, past broadcast, or the uploads. You are the reason I am able to do what I do. You keep the channel humming, and this channel is sponsored primarily by gifted members and members. We're not doing a lot of sponsored segments. We're not a very large channel, so this channel is kept going week in, week out, day in, day out by you. So thank you so much. And Evidence jumps back in with a Member Plus as well. We've made it easier to hit the goal, guys. If you have a Member Plus or a VIP and you resub, it hits the goal. So thank you so much for Reforge Gaming for upgrading as well and jumping to 372, but then 373. Somebody just turned on the television and the audio was so super loud it scared me. So thank you so much, Joker Quinn, for gifting a member, for Reforge Gaming for upgrading. You are the absolute best. Somebody said something here. Solemn says, what about Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy reportedly among the people that were laid off from Bungie? Is this true, if at all concerning? Okay, so as far as we can tell, that's not the proper way to phrase it, Solemn, okay? According to Jeff Grubb, the cancellation, seeing Destiny 3 canceled, essentially gave them nothing to work on. Now, it wasn't going to be called Destiny 3. It was going to be like the next thing for Destiny. That basically meant that Luke Smith and Mark Noseworthy had nothing to do. That was like their basic primary job, was to plot out, develop, and lead the direction for the future of Destiny, okay? So Destiny 3 is just an easy placeholder it's just an easy placeholder. They were calling it Payback, but whatever it was the next thing for Destiny. That's what they were working on. When that got canceled, they basically left the company. Now, that could have been they wanted them gone. And a 5 bomb comes in from Belphegor and takes us to 278. And a 20 bomb from MASH takes us to 398. Thank you so much. 2 away from 400. MASH is a madman. He needs a tag team partner. Somebody else help this man with the 20 bombs and the 50 bombs. He's putting the bat signal in the sky. Thank you so much, MASH. So this is how I view it. They had future plans for Destiny, whatever they were going to call it. Destiny 3 is just an easy placeholder. You understand that, right? Like Destiny, Destiny 2, Destiny 3. They had something that they were working on and scoping out for after Destiny 2. Now, Jason Schreier said that it was canceled a while ago. I wouldn't be surprised if whatever they had planned next for Destiny was canceled when the downturn of interest happened. And we're also hearing conflicting reports now. I'm reading that the final shape sold worse than the one before it, than Lightfall. And 2 single gifteds come in from Siege Master and Joker Quinn, rounding us out nicely at 400 members. I now owe you guys a 10 bomb. I'm going to do it right now. Thank you guys so much for everything you do for this community. Let's keep it going. I would love for this segment on Friday morning to get a ton of support because it's really enjoyable to do something called Gaming News This Week and just sort of talk with you guys, vibe, no upload, no rigid structure. Let's just talk about everything that's been going on in gaming news. Greg Brimstone says, Astrocross said the devs were just referring to it as the next Destiny. Sounds like a sequel to me. It's weird to say it wasn't Destiny 3, but it was the next Destiny. Now listen, a lot of us speculated over the years that the future of Destiny was going to be to drop the number and essentially just make Destiny, to go back to their roots and essentially build a true MMO, a true action shooter looter MMO, and just call it Destiny. So maybe that's what they were trying to cook up. Maybe they were trying to have another sort of infection point of, if we build something like this and it's super exciting and everybody loves it, it'll grow organically on its own. Maybe that's why they didn't want to call it Destiny 3. Maybe they didn't want to set those expectations. I don't know. Per Jason Schreier, it was a spin-off game in the universe, but not a sequel. That's different, though, so no one knows. I want to know what 850 people are going to do. You and me both, Julio. You and me both. Like, if the future of Destiny, this is what I'm going to be discussing with Mike, 30 and Still Gaming, because I want to know. I want to know what in the world they're going to be working on. Like, what's the future of Destiny? What is it? The content rhythm is thinning out. The content rhythm is getting less substantive, okay? You're not putting 850 people on Marathon. Ain't no way. That doesn't make any sense. Marathon doesn't seem like the type of game that would warrant that many people on it. I could see maybe 100 people allocated to Marathon, maybe 150. That means you got what, like another 700 people doing what? The next Destiny just sounds like a great game, like how Destiny was the next Halo. That's my take from the Verby. Oh, a new great game. It was supposed to be in the Destiny universe, according to Jason Schreier, so I don't know if it was going to be like a new IP. Solaire says Destiny is done, long overdue. If you want to get a gifted member, you just got to be here as often as you can. Hit like, chat, be leaving comments, all those things. How do I allow gifts? You should be able to click join, and when you click join, up in the right-hand corner is 3 dots. Click that, and you can toggle your gifted settings for this channel. Got you excited at Games Fest, raised the price of Game Pass, Xbox fan sub for a year, and stacked, and then delayed all the games. I mean, yeah, we'll be talking about that Monday, Roberto. I mean, Monday is going to be all about Xbox. What an just not a great time. Yo, my man Ryan, good to see you, bro. I miss you, man. I miss you. Jump in the DMs if you ever just want to chat, dude. You're good, dude. I miss a lot of people from that era. Had dinner with him at one of the events, and he always in the background stuck by me and have been supported. Good to see you. I hope you're well. And Savage Sharkbite with a VIP renewal, 35 months, almost 3 entire years. That's an Agent of Chaos renewal. That passes 400 and bumps us up to 401. Dude with the drum set says, let's take a minute and hit like. Let's do it. There's 400 of you here. Let's get the like count to 200. Let's go for it. D2 still has a bigger player base than most new games. Here's the issue, though, Cam. Here's the issue. If you're going to maintain a company the size of Bungie, 850 employees, you got to have money coming in from somewhere, brother. And if Destiny is slowing down and the revenue's slowing down, you can sit there and say, oh, well, it's bigger than most games. Ryan counts too. I'll count Ryan because I know for a fact he's not a gifted member, but standard memberships I typically don't count because I can't tell if they're a gifted member or not, MASH. That's why I keep telling people, hey, if you upgrade to Member Plus every month when you renew, you help us with the goal. But member gifteds can celebrate their membership, so that would be a double dip, and I can't do that. It looks like 850 devs aren't enough to keep the same content structure. Listen, let's be honest about something. 850 devs is enough for the same content structure. Homie, they barely kept up with the content structure. There was a time where they needed Vicarious Visions and High Moon Studios to even hit regular, cadence of seasons. That was one of the best times with respect to seasonal quality, was when they had Vicarious Visions building stuff like Season of Opulence. I'd like to see numbers on sales things. My guess would be that it had higher number sales, but way less people buying the deluxe editions, resulting in less revenue. Yeah, right, Eugene. Is it that it sold well because we saw tons of people playing, but did it generate less revenue? Soldier on Music with the 5-bomb takes us to 407 as we climb our way to 500. My man, Soldier! Good to see you, Soldier. 850 is what they had around Witch Queen. It's so hard to know leading to Witch Queen how much parallel development helped them get there, Eugene. The content structure and deployment needed to change, says Wolverine. Right, Wolvie? It's like parallel development helped them get to Witch Queen. They were able to have lots of people working on long-tail content projects because they had those companies helping them. And when they lost those companies, that's when it got worrisome. It's like, is this going to continue to work? And a 5-bomb from Mash. Mash continues to just not quit. He is always in here gifting members to the channel, just getting way more people in here. Although this might be a little conspiracy. Since Sony is more involved, Bungie was shifting and working on a spin-off instead of a sequel and letting D2 kind of die, and Sony didn't like that. So you think Sony stepped in and said, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to keep D2 going and try to make money off of it? To be honest, Destiny players need to realize if you need a constant rotation of content to keep the game entertaining, maybe the base game isn't in a good place. Detonator with a VIP. Welcome back. That takes us to 413. Thank you so much for celebrating those renewals in chat. Will we get Witcher 4? No, they're not going to call it Witcher 4. They're going to start over with a new Witcher saga, they have said. But there is a new Witcher coming, yes. I believe it's going to be in Unreal. But they're not going to call it The Witcher 4. That trilogy is done. And Behemoth with the 10-bomb takes us to 423. Unbelievable. We got some heavy hitters in chat today. Make sure you guys are chatting and smashing like. You might get one. Solemn says, either way you want to look at it, that's still less successful regardless. The game is going to decline no matter what from this point forward. I don't think they can raise it up going forward. I don't think so either. Greg Brimstone says, I don't think that a lot of people were interested in playing after the Light Dark saga. I can see why deluxe editions did not sell well. Diet Ghost is chiming in here, and he says, my concern is where Chris Barrett is. Don't know if he was laid off. Luke and Mark are acceptable losses, but you can't lose Chris. I mean, I don't have, any love for Barrett. I think he's gone. According to sources, he's no longer at the company. And a 10-bomb from Therapy Quantified takes us to 233. And a renewal from Zach Johnson, and he says, almost 2 years, I only bought the standard final shape because I was weary. It was going to be like Lightfall. I bet many others did the same. Detonator with a 5-bomb as well takes us to 238. Between what you're saying, Zach, and what Eugene said, it wouldn't surprise me at all if Lightfall made everybody very, trepidatious, and they said, I'm going to spend the least amount of money. Right? They bought less cosmetics. They spent less on microtransactions. They bought the cheapest version possible because, why? They were trepidatious. They weren't confident in the brand anymore. Do you know? It makes sense. And a 20-bomb from Behemoth. He says, I'm going to help out. I'll be the tag team partner with the big man Mash. And he does it. And he takes us all the way up. I'm going to have to drop a 10-bomb here in a second. You guys are going absolutely crazy this Friday. If they want to successfully reinvigorate the Destiny IP beyond what they have already achieved, it's no longer possible in Destiny 2. I agree. They need to do a new game. I'm not in disagreement with that at all. I agree with you. Wolvie says, Sony stepped in because Bungie was not living up to their end of the bargain. They set high expectations and goals. They didn't meet them, so Sony's stepping in. Wolvie, have you seen that a lot of the employees are saying that upper management and leadership oversold Bungie to Sony and was like, they basically acted like we were going to be this big hot thing? And They're like, no, we're not actually that good. It seemed as though, according to sources, Sony basically saved Bungie financially, like they were not in a good place. Nova says at some point Bungie and Sony need to come out and set the tone going forward. This tailspin doesn't benefit anyone. I have to think that Sony wants to settle this down and reassure fans. You think Sony cares to say something publicly? Derek comes in with 24 months. I say the dad joke for you. I just saw 2 huge blackbirds stuck together. They were Velcros. Oh my gosh, that's awful. Thank you so much, Derek. And thank you guys for almost 200 likes and 450 people here. Listen, I know why you're here. I get it. Friday, gaming news this week is typically a little bit of a lighter turnout, but we're talking Destiny. And you're like, well, if Lono's talking Destiny, I'm going to show up. I get that. I need you to do something for me, man. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe and the bell button. We're doing the same show. We're talking gaming. We're doing Q&A, okay? Destiny's not what it once was and likely never will be. So come back home and hang out here, all right? We miss some of y'all, okay? We're still doing the same show. We're still the same great community. A lot of people are playing First Ascendant together. There's games to play. There's experiences and journeys to have. Mark says the thing about getting new players is they'll have to buy all the DLC, and that's around $300, and still put 200 to 300 hours into the game. That's a hard task for new players. I think that the funnel of new and returning players was always going to be a challenge for a game like Destiny, and I've not played in 3 years, so I couldn't tell you if it was good or if it was bad. Ryan says they were really good at wasting mountains of cash. Eventually a reckoning comes around and the party is over. Yeah, I think there's a reckoning happening in a variety of ways, Ryan. I do. I think when you run your company in a toxic way, I think when you engage in manipulation of a directory on Twitch and I would say unethical relationships with content creators, I think there's always a reckoning for that type of behavior. I don't think all the dominoes have fallen. I don't think everybody's gotten their comeuppance, but I think at some level this is comeuppance for the hubris and the self-righteousness. I think the hubris has come home to roost. They thought they were untouchable. They thought they could do whatever they wanted, treat people however they wanted, and that's not true. It's not true. Mash with 13 months in the VIP. This is in support of the 10 out of 10 dad joke. Mash takes us to 259. Let me drop the 10 bomb that I now owe you guys. Every 25, I give 5, and you guys have already done another 50 memberships since the last time I did a 10 bomb. So here comes another one. Yeah, I'll continue to say that. I'll continue to say that, yeah, Chris Barrett is gone. He is no longer at the company. And that was quietly done, and they said nothing about it, which I don't know what that means, right? I'm not going to read tea leaves and try and predict what that is, but a former Bungie CM said that he's not a nice person. I'm only relaying what I saw to you. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. And a 10 bomb from Mash. He says, I'll match Lono's 10 bomb and takes us to 469. Nice. So, yeah, I don't know what happened there. All I know is he's not there. He was no longer the director on Marathon, and they never announced it. They put somebody else in charge, and they never said a word about it. They kept it really quiet. IGN was going to blow the lid off of it, and then all of a sudden, there was somebody else in charge, and he randomly announced it on Twitter because of the IGN report, and I thought, that's really fishy. When you change directors and you don't say a word about it, that's weird. It is. It's just weird. I'm sorry to use such harsh language, but it's weird. Luke Smith deleted his Twitter timeline. Now, Luke Smith has done that before. I don't know if that's necessarily tied to him leaving, but yeah, I think this time you can say that him clearing his timeline is yep, time for a new clean slate. And a 5 bomb from Siege Master takes us to 474. Thank you so much. Mash going all over the place, right? Quiet transitions are that way for a reason. Fishy is an understatement. And a 20 bomb from Riddish takes us all the way to 494. We are going to need a stretch goal because you guys are going to hit 500 like it's nothing, and Siege Master takes us to 495 with a single. Unbelievable. I knew you guys would answer the call. Just truly insane. Truly insane. They're supposedly gone. Luke and Mark are not supposedly gone. They are gone. There was a current employee that confirmed they're gone. Now, I don't think they were laid off. I think they left of their own accord. Now, it could have been a soft push out, right? If they decided they didn't want those guys there anymore, well, a really quick way of doing that is to cancel what they were working on. And a 5-bomb from Talica and a 20-bomb from Cat takes us to 420. That's another nice number. Thank you so much, Cat. I owe you guys another 10-bomb. This is truly an unprecedented member train to end the week. There was so much weird crap in the past 4 years in the Destiny community, so much pearl clutching and keeping up appearances while clearly there was crap going on. And 2 singles, one coming in from Silent Spartan and one coming in from Silver Subaru. What are we going to do as a stretch goal? If we're playing Fall Guys tonight, community game night, you have... Wait, I messed that up. That's not 420. Wait. Oh, no, it is 422. It should be 520. Wait, am I losing my mind? Shouldn't it be 520? Did I mess that up? 520, not 420. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Okay, let's give you guys a stretch goal then. I am having a hard time, chat. I just reset you. I'm just taking members away. I'm just taking members away. 520. What? It's 522. It's 522. I'm just taking members away now, all right? Yeah, we got to think of a stretch goal. Sorry. Yeah, you're just negative gifting. Oh, my lands. Lono had high hopes. Yeah, I got excited about 420. Anyway, what should we do for a stretch goal? You guys are easily going to hit 600. I don't even know what we would make it. Teddy, good to see you. What do you feel about the change to cadence being reported to 2 small DLCs a year, no weekly story? I feel it will make the game actually more accessible to people not wanting a full-time game. I could easily see that be reasonably profitable for them. You know, reasonably. You know, I tell you what would be a good return to form. You know, I tell you what would be a good return to form is give me all my freaking stuff back. Right? Give me all my stuff back. You want to rebuild, let's rebuild. But, you know, I don't know. I'm not even sure if at this stage of the game you would get a lot of new players. That's going to be your biggest barrier. Your biggest barrier is going to be you need new players. You need a cadence of, you know, new blood. Because if not, you're constantly going to be dealing with people just getting franchise fatigue. That just leads to just a regular attrition rate of people leaving. Zelda Hearts with 18 months says, people, buy some coffee and keep the train going. Choo-choo. We have to try hard because Lono is taking away from us. That's right. I'm taking members away. Oops. There we go. 523. Thank you so much, Zelda Heart. I owe you guys 10. You guys are going so crazy. I'm going to get stopped from gifting. Guaranteed. Where's my money, man? That's right. That's right. Or do they unban you? If they somehow unban you, trust me, this story has been crap. I mean, 650 Jimmy Neutron cosplay. I'm doing a Jimmy Neutron cosplay right now. What are you talking about? If they've not even started Destiny 3, I think we'll never see it. And a single comes in from Patrick Q and takes us to 524. I mean, we could do some type of a shoutcasting incentive tonight. You want me and Madam to shoutcast you guys playing Fall Guys? That's always fun. That could be the stretch goal. Make us do that. Like, that'd be funny to have Madam trying to shoutcast some Fall Guys. If they make the full base game free again, then they'll get new players and some willing to buy the DLC. I mean, the base game being free, sure, but I think there's more to it than that. You need to add your 10 gifted to the number? No, that's not how we do it. My gifted don't go in the number. My gifted are a response to the number. Every 25, I gift back to say thank you. If I was constantly adding mine to the number, then I'd be like, oh, hey guys, I just did 10 and oh, that's a new milestone. I have to gift again. I'd be gifting and I'd be eternally gifting. I'd be eternally gifting. I'd be gifting in response to my own gifting. Sunsetting gear and content's exactly why I stopped playing Destiny 2, says Solomon Burns. They unsunset all the weapons. I do wonder if Bungie will see more problems in the future. Xbox Era mentioned that a person was in maternity leave because she was going to have a baby soon. What does that have to do with anything? Madam shoutcasting would be a treat. She'd be ruthless. Yeah, if you guys want to make Madam and myself shoutcast some stuff tonight, make sure and you got to hit 600. You guys have already secured the goal for community game night. If you want to keep it going, keep it going. Canceling Destiny 3 is a bad move. They'd have to make everything up to Lightfall free to gain major numbers of new players. What about a subscription model? A subscription model wouldn't work. That's too big of a barrier for new players. I'm 100% with you, Lono, on how sunsetting is good, but the game is too stacked for new players. It needs a reset. They unset the weapons and they sunset their staff. Oof. I mean, I'm not in tune with the game enough to speak definitively about what they need to do to like rejuvenate the game. But even from a distance, listen, man. Listen to me now. You gotta nuke the site from orbit. I do. I think at some level. I don't know what that looks like. You have to give yourself a clean slate to build upon. If you don't, then you're always going to be dealing with the problems of existing players feeling like they've got all this stuff that they feel like they want to keep using, but they also want new stuff. Then you got new players coming in and trying to engage with the mountain of content. Like, there's just... I'd have to come back, fully engage with the game, re-engage, and try to figure out what exactly is the solution. I've just been too far away. Right now, my gut instinct would be you've got to nuke the site from orbit. But I don't know what that looks like. Whether or not you do some type of, time travel thing in order to reset, but then the timeline would need to be different. That would then you could give ground and lore explanation for why Zavala sounds a little bit different. Like you could be in a slightly alternate alternate timeline. Give yourself a little bit of freedom to change things up. Game is ready for a nuke. New game, new IP is a solution. 12-man excision mission to defeat a boss really does feel like a proper ending in retrospect. Nick says the problem with Destiny model is they release a DLC, and with each new DLC, they're pulling from a smaller and smaller player pool each new DLC. The last thing you do is let staff vote on leadership. No, I don't think you let staff vote on leadership. You got to let the board and Sony figure out the path forward. Yeah. Did somebody say orbit? Q&A Lono? I mean... Pile in the Dreadnought, go to a new solar system like they're currently doing. Oh, I mean, if they are trying to hit some kind of a reset button in the game, I don't know. Generic Eric says, I feel like a noob. Do I have to wait for this membership to expire to upgrade it? I can't find anything to do it. Generic Eric, you can use the upgrade command in chat. If you are on an iPhone, it's a pain in the rear end. You need to do it in a browser. I honestly, the easiest way to do it in a browser on an iPhone is to delete the app from the iPhone, because it's always going to try and open up the app. The Apple interface, they want their cut. And so YouTube makes it really difficult to spend money, through their app. So best way to do it is to use the upgrade command in chat. You go to the paid memberships page, and you should be able to see perks or change your level there. Outsider with a gifted membership, thank you so much. Taking us to 525. I now owe you 5 more, and you guys are 75 away from the stretch goal. Unbelievable rally today. Jake says, with these recent findings, we have to think it'll be years before we see anything new in Destiny, if at all. No more alternate universe. I'm tired of universes. I mean, I'm not saying you do multiverse. I was saying time travel, but you would say it was a slightly different timeline, so certain things would feel different, right? Like all of a sudden Zavala's voice is different, things like that. You could, I think, respectfully, sort of make some of those alterations. The stretch goal is 600. You guys already hit the goal for the week. The goal was 500. If you go to upgrade in the browser, just do it incognito and it won't open the app. There you go. Pac-Man on a bike says that's what he did. So if you're doing it on a browser on your iPhone, if you go incognito, it shouldn't do it. Necro does a member plus and bumps the line. That's an agent of chaos to go past 525 because I owe you guys 5 right now. Every 25, and when you roll it forward, you're being an agent of chaos. Thank you so much, Necro. I'm back. Good to see you in chat, Necro. Sadiqua says, I'm a new player thanks to Mike on the mic, and yes, the new player experience sucks and is overwhelming, but I really like the game and I spend a lot of time with it. It has to be a new game, says Diet Ghost. It has to be branded as just a new way forward led by Sony. If it looks like too much of the same of the franchise, it has no chance and is spending time anyway, probably good. Listen, I'll throw a theory out there. I'll throw a theory out there, all right? I got no problem throwing a theory out here for y'all. What if Sony wants there to be what if they want future Destiny content, but they didn't want the old guard in charge? Maybe the old uniforms are gone. I'm kidding around. Maybe the old guard and the old uniforms are, maybe Sony didn't want them in there. Or maybe that was a decision from the board. I don't know. My theory is that if Sony or the board or the higher ups at Bungie are like, listen, we don't think the future of Destiny should be in their hands. So they canceled everything that they were working on and they want to kind of start over. Because I'll be honest with you, I think one of the greatest problems with Bungie, as well as what happened with the content creator community, is the old guard. Is the hubris. It's the hubris of the old guard. They think that they're irreplaceable. They think that they're the best. Insomniac Black with a VIP renewal. Just realize you're about to hit 40K. These mother effers nuked you, and years later, now they're on the verge of collapse, and you're almost back to where you were. Firm handshake to you, sir. F Bungie. Well, I appreciate you saying that. I'm trying not to have too much of that energy. I mean, I might have a little bit of that energy, Insomniac Black, but I don't want to have too much. I don't want to have too much of that energy. All right. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So I'm trying to keep a lid on that. I really am. We are really, really close to where my channel originally was, though, when it all went away. Low clicks, Renfew picks a VIP. Thank you so much for doing that. Welcome in, and that takes us to 528. I appreciate that so much. That name feels familiar to me, and I don't know why. I don't know if you're from the old days or something, but that name is familiar to me, and maybe I'm misfiring. I've been doing this a long time, so it's hard to remember everybody. Lona, did you play Ghost of Tsushima Legends? I did. Seems like Sony can have sleeper live service hits if Insomniac does it. Maybe. Wolvie says the writing was on the wall, and most content creators want to clutch their pearls like they didn't see the iceberg coming. Insomniac Black says, nah, we're standing on business over here. We're keeping that size 3 foot. Listen, I'll let y'all run that for me. It is. I followed you before. Well, welcome back. I appreciate you coming back around. I really do. Yeah, Avowed has been delayed before. It's true. It's kind of good that some of the higher ups have gone. How many partnerships and buyouts can you go through and not see a problem? And a 5 bomb from the Danzatastic takes us to 533. The number is so big, I'm having a hard time with it. Thank you so much. Angel says, I work in a corporate company, and we've had executives given a choice, either leave or get fired. Most choose to just leave and move on. Right. Like, if from the outside, Sony essentially said, look, we've got to start over. Leadership's got to go. We got to push the reset button. That means that Destiny could have a bright future, but not under the leadership of Luke Smith, Mark Noseworthy, and the likes of people like Chris Barrett. Like, they're all gone. Now, they could have been given a choice of, like, listen, we're not going forward with you, and you can either quietly leave of your own accord, or we can do this another way. Or it could quite literally be the money isn't there for a Destiny spinoff. We got to cancel these projects. And then Noseworthy and Smith were like, well, then there's no reason for us to stay at the company. There's a variety of ways that this could have played out. We might have to wait for, more employees to say, more insiders to say. Why not take getting fired? You'd get unemployment. Sometimes they offer you a sweeter deal if you retire with respect to your severance and stuff, Dave. Sometimes it's more profitable and beneficial to be like, I'll peaceably leave. I'm not gonna do the whole get fired thing. When you're at their level, you're not trying to get fired and collect unemployment. You're trying to have an amicable exit. Would they be under SIE now? Very possible. If Sony gets rid of Bungie leadership, you should celebrate. At some level, I do feel a little element of celebration. When I told my wife last night that more leadership was being removed, she half serious, half jokingly got out like 2 glasses and some bourbon, and she's like, are we celebrating? And I was like, not yet. Not yet. I think I firmly believe it. I do. I believe that our day will come. I don't know what it'll look like, and I don't know when it'll happen, but I believe our day will come. It doesn't have to be with Destiny, and it doesn't have to be on the purple platform, but I believe our day will come when it'll be definitively seen who won. And I just think we're continuing to see the veneer chip and the walls crumble. It's just obvious to anybody with a discerning eye. And I've just kind of sat back and watched dominoes fall. You can call them dominoes of karma. You can call them dominoes of justice. But I don't think we're done seeing the dominoes fall. Woodford Double Oaked, get it? I was going to get her Woodford Double Oaked for her birthday, Soldier, and the guy in the store recommended another brand. And it's so good. He said he switched to it full time for Double Oaked, and I'm here to tell you it's really, really good. Like, I was like, it was a risk. It was an actual risk doing this. Let me see if I can find it. It's so good. Like, we were both like, hey now, this is pretty good. Hang on. I'm gonna have to do, it's called Bond Stone. Bond, like James Bond, and the word stone all together. Bond Stone Double Oak Bourbon is fantastic. It's very good. What happened with you and Bungie in the past? I feel like I heard your name in the past. I was a full-time Destiny content creator, had a bunch of nonsense that was exaggerated and lied about, scared me into apologizing, and then when I defended myself against false claims and made up stuff, I had receipts, I had proof, I had evidence. Nobody else did. Their evidence was faked and fabricated and has now been scrubbed and deleted. Surprise, surprise. Whenever I did that, I lost my Twitch channel. somebody called in a favor. Someone seemingly took credit for the favor on Twitter. And then I had to rebuild on YouTube. And then about 7 months later, in the beginning of 2021, it was becoming clear that Bungie somehow had a hand in it. And when that started to become clear, I had 2 people looking into it, and they were getting current and former employees as well as content creators to talk to them. And when that started happening, somebody slipped up and said that Bungie corporate attorneys were consulted about the whole thing before it happened, which is extremely questionable and unethical. And when that started happening and those cracks in the surface started happening, I was suddenly mysteriously banned from the game, and then could no longer cover it and could no longer, really ground my almost 50,000 sub YouTube channel in it. I had to pivot to variety, which basically slowly killed that channel, and we came over here. About 3 years ago, I came over here. We only had about 5,000 subscribers, and we basically had to rebuild with a variety gaming show, and it was terrifying because this is what I do to provide for my family, and I lost a 6-figure Twitch channel in the blink of an eye and had to rebuild because of lies. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Banning you from the game was out of order. I still have never got an explanation. I've never broken any of their rules. I've never done anything in their games. I never did anything on their website. I never went after anybody. And here we are. here we are. I would never defend Bungie on anything if I was in your shoes. I mean, people sometimes question that. They're like, why do you defend Bungie? Like, whenever I defend Bungie's involvement in, consulting on the Last of Us factions, and that got canceled, and, Chat AI says, viewers are discussing Lono's departure from Bungie. Yeah, somebody on Twitter was like, did you work for them? I was like, no. I never worked for them. I've never even been to the studio. So basically, discussing Lono's, and it's now celebrating opportunities. Some are suggesting ideas for potential future collaborations. Right. But basically, whenever I defend, like, Bungie as an authority on live service, or I defend the employees there, right? Like, I'm like, listen, the employees don't deserve this. It's the leadership. I've said for years that it's the leadership. I have said for years, like, it's not the staff. Now, there were some toxic staff members and some CMs that got what was coming to them. But largely, I don't think the staff there is toxic. I had a former employee reach out to me, and they liked my coverage, and they told me, they said, yeah, they were running a narrative against you at the company. It's like, oh, really? So basically, this is a former employee that appreciated my coverage in 2021 when IGN wrote a puff piece about the toxic culture at Bungie. So people are always like, well, why do you defend them after everything that happened? And it's like, I'm just too rigidly committed to truth. It's like, I view this as true. It's like they're an authority on live service, and they saved Naughty Dog from shipping a bad product, or they saved Naughty Dog from shipping a product that Naughty Dog wasn't equipped to support, right? I had a lot of people comment yesterday, and they said, I can't believe that you would cover this in such a charitable way. I can't believe that you would talk about Bungie in this way. Like, a lot of people appreciated the fact that, like, I've now covered the layoffs for like the second or third time in a way that's like, I'm not going to make this some personal vendetta, nasty, content. Now, I obviously get little jabs in here and there, but I think they're fair and they're warranted. If anybody's allowed to take a little jab here and there, I would think I've earned my right. But I've never wanted to make it about that. Like, the inevitability of truth and time is just something that you can't stop. And I always put my trust in that. I always trusted in the reality that I've watched these sort of situations play out. And it's really hard when you're in the middle of it, when you're in the pit and you're facing the abyss of utter financial ruin. It can be absolutely terrifying to think, what are we going to do? But I always fell back on the bedrock of truth. Truth is on my side. Truth is not on their side. And truth is undeniable. I've always said it will win out in the end. Truth always wins out in the end. Truth and time are undefeated. And I've just continued to trust that people and content creators and persons who live their life that way, they always get what's coming to them. And I don't have to do anything. I just sort of focused on my content and my family and we're still here. And I'm still here. So I wouldn't say it's defending Bungie. It's just stating the truth. We want the facts straight. Tired of people just believing lies, for sure. People forget that there are literally hundreds of people that had nothing to do with you. The reason you have always been great is that you are pragmatic and reasonable. I mean, I appreciate that, Soldier. I remember when they were pointing the finger at Activision regarding their treatment of the female employees. Bungie was caught that Friday forcing their employees to sign, NDAs. They were signing non-disparaging agreements, yeah. A lot of them were paid to be quiet. I mean, that was something I tried to point out at the time in 2021, and now we have all these people that defended Bungie at the time suddenly turning on the company and saying the company's leadership's toxic. And it's like, I said 3 years ago, I said, read between the lines of this IGN article. I said, the retaliation culture is still in place. Pete Parsons was defending the company against a toxic work culture by saying, look how much diversity we have in our hiring and our upper management. It was like, what in the world? Like, he came with like stats in hand. It was like, I could see right through this. I can see through this thin veneer of virtue that you think is going to protect you. My man Yixel's coming in with his daily 5-spot. Hope you're well known and everyone in chat. I still play D2 and I'm quite worried about the future of the franchise. Is D3 actually canceled? Well, whatever was next for Destiny has been shelved, yes. Destiny 3 is just the easy thing to call it. They were apparently calling it the next Destiny or a spin-off or something of that nature. But everybody's just going to refer to it as Destiny 3. They internally were not referring to it as Destiny 3. For the longest time, a lot of us theorized that they would drop the numbers and they would just go with Destiny or, Destiny Universe or something like that. So, if you guys are concerned about the future of Destiny, I'm here to tell you, I'm going to be discussing it with none other than 30 and Still Gaming, a true friend, someone who stuck by me the last 4 years. And we've been doing a show every Friday. And if you don't have respect for him, then I don't know what's wrong with you. But we're going to be talking about the future of Destiny because he and I did a show on Destiny for years together, he and I. He was one of the first people that I did something full time with on the platform. I've known him for almost 10 years, and we're doing a show today on that. And you know what else we do now? This is a great reason to come back. This is a great reason to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. This is a great reason to become a member, because let me tell you something. Q&A is back. And if you're a member right now, you can use the question command, submit a question, pops up on the screen and everything. Now's a great time to become a member. Now's a great time to gift a member. Yeah, me and Doc Dark are still fine. We're still homies. I've not done a show with him in a while. His schedule just never really lined up with Friday afternoon when I tried to have him on. Do you think Destiny 3 would have been free to play? I mean, was he 20 and still gaming back then? No. GC Plug says about Destiny 3, didn't Jason Schreier say that there wasn't a Destiny 3 in development but a spinoff? I mean, Schreier's being pedantic, as he typically is about these things, but he's like, you can't cancel something that wasn't in development. There was more Destiny coming, and that was canceled a while ago, okay? We're just referring to that as Destiny 3. Right? We're just referring to that as Destiny 3. Yeah, we brought back Q&A this week. I had no idea that this was all going to happen, but we resurrected Q&A. So submit your questions now. The queue is open. It's open. By the way, as soon as you type your question before hitting enter, highlight it and copy it in case Nightbot doesn't get it. Because if you both submit a question at the same time, if like two people submit a question at the same time, it won't get through. So I appreciate Jason Schreier qualifying, but it's like, listen, no matter what, we're all saying the same thing. Whatever was being designed, scoped out, or sketched out and planned for Destiny has been canceled, shelved, stopped, and Luke Smith and Noseworthy aren't at the company. So they either left because they had nothing to work on, they left because they weren't wanted anymore, and that's why it was canceled. I mean, any weird combination of it could be what is true. We don't quite know yet. So I'm sticking to the basics, right? First question, coming in hot. Dave Langer says, do you think that Microsoft delaying a lot of their games is a good way to get people to drop off the mid-tier and then have to move to Ultimate when the games come back to play day and day games? I do not think this has anything to do with the delays, no. No, I don't. Like, as far as delays go, I think delays are commonly because a game is not ready. Almost every time, that's the reason. Now, that's sometimes intermingled with launch timing strategy, and I think that that's what we're seeing. I think that we're seeing, you know, a jam-packed fourth quarter. Well, guess what? That doesn't help Game Pass. That doesn't add value to Game Pass if all your games are landing in the same 2 months. So I definitely think Avowed needs more time, and I also think the fourth quarter got a little jam-packed because of Stalker 2. Stalker 2 is a timed exclusive, by the way, but it's still an exclusive coming to Game Pass for Xbox. It's not a first-party title, but that's beside the point. The fourth quarter for Game Pass just got overstuffed, and I think they're trying to navigate around that. I also think that Avowed needs more time. Indiana Jones could potentially, I've always said that I feel like Indiana Jones could potentially get delayed as well. It just felt like it came out of nowhere, and it hasn't had a long incubation period. It's like, this just feels like a very, very fast turnaround time for a big AAA title based on a very, very popular very popular piece of property. If you want your question highlighted, like the next question that I'm going to pop up here from Nova Hands, you need to be a member. So click join. And if you're going to become a brand new member, pick Member Plus. It's $6 instead of $5. But when you do that, you get into more content. It's an extra $1. You get into more content, and you help us with the member goal every month that you renew. All right? So if you're going to become a new member, pick Member Plus. This is now also a great time to gift members. You guys do have a stretch goal. You hit the goal for tonight. But if you want to make Madam Shoutcast Fall Guys, keep going with those gifteds. Here's a question from Nova Hands. How does it feel to be 4 years ahead of everyone else now that they're scrambling to figure out what their future content will be? Well, I mean, I really have to guard against a sense of there's a lot here that I've had to work on personally with my own from a spiritual standpoint and a psychological standpoint. You know, comparison is the thief of joy, but I also think comparison is a terrible motivator. Even if you're winning, you shouldn't be celebrating the fact that you're winning and they're not. I feel like that's always petty. I think I would rather take satisfaction in justice, in wrongs being righted. I would rather take satisfaction in having my own product that I'm trying to always increase the value of. I'm always trying to think about the long tail of, like, what's this look like in 5 years? What's this community? What's my content? I'm rethinking uploads. I'm rethinking how I structure them. I'm rethinking the creativity that goes into them. I'm focused on me. I'm focused on my family. I'm focused on this community. And so for me, I don't want to fall into the trap of, like, the human part of you, the human part of me, there's a pull and a tug and a temptation to be like, ha ha, ha ha. I don't want to do that. I don't think that's, number one, I don't think that's good for my own soul and my own heart. And number two, I just think that's a terrible motivator for success. You know? If your happiness and satisfaction is derived from the fact that you're doing better than others, you better pray that never gets undone, because then what's your happiness going to be based on? You can get chopped down in an instant. Can I get a witness? I'll testify. You can lose everything in an instant. And what are you going to do? Where's your satisfaction and joy and happiness going to come from then? This is all fragile and tenuous. It's sand. You're just holding in grains of sand in your hand. So I hold it all loosely. It's like, yeah, I'm very happy that I'm in a better place spiritually and psychologically. I'm happy that the business is in a good and a sound place. But if it was all gone tomorrow, you know, if YouTube suddenly disappeared for some reason and I didn't have a means of making a living in this environment or whatever, then I would be okay. I'd have other things I could turn to, focus on, work on. I would have a deeper satisfaction and a deeper, you know, I'd have more resolve than just, well, I'm better off than those people. Like, okay, like that is some tenuous joy. That's some tenuous mirth to be like, well, I'm better off than those people. Hopefully you can maintain that. The fear of the creeping shadows in the room that it might get taken from you one day if that's what you really take your happiness and satisfaction from. What that must be like? No, thank you. No. So, yeah. And I'm thankful that I had a support system, and I'm thankful that I had somebody that believed in me, that got behind me and said, you can do this. Pilloctor and Paul just upgraded to Member Plus. You know, I'm extremely grateful. I don't think I would be here. I don't think the content would be here. I don't think I would have survived. I don't think I would have survived if I didn't have a support system, if I didn't have people that believed in me, if I didn't have people that got behind me and said, bro, you got this. You can do this. You can rise and crest above this, which there were numerous times in 2021 and 2022 that I didn't think I was going to make it. So, yeah. Thank you, Paul and Pilloctor, for leveling up and upgrading to Member Plus. Another question coming in here from Grant says, what kind of new project do you think would be best to use a Bungie's talent? Ongoing looter shooter of some type. Ongoing looter shooter. Yeah. They are excellent at both. They are experienced at both. Now, you could be like, hey, they've messed up or made mistakes, or they've got, you know, this and that and the third. And I'm like, okay. They have more experience than anybody. You know? They have more experience than anybody. I would want them to do another looter shooter, another ongoing looter shooter. You know? Their shooting mechanics feel and always probably will be one of the best. And I think they understand live service. I think they understand ongoing, you know. I think they just need a new playground to build in that's not quite so rigid. I think they need more. They need an engine in a world that has more agility. That's really what they need. Oh my gosh, can you imagine their talents and their vision and their experience in an engine that isn't so cumbersome and rigid and limited? They want to talk about how, like, well, you know, Tiger's not archaic. Okay, but it certainly is not very agile. Imagine them building right now from the ground up something, whether it's a proprietary engine or, you know, working in a new engine. Oh my gosh. The things that they would know to prepare for, the foundational inlay that they could put. I'm telling you, man, they are basically like a really, really experienced NASCAR driver, and they're doing laps in a jalopy. It's like if you put them in the right car and on the right track, buddy, they could soar. I believe that. I played and covered their game for half of a decade. They are extremely creative and talented. You put them in the right engine, good golly, what they could build with everything they know, especially like all the things that got in their way, all the foundational problems would just be, it'd be good. Zach Johnson says, I've heard you say in the past the next great live service is cooking somewhere. How do you think D2 EOL will push that? This is something that I think is just going to continue to be a challenge for live service games in general. I made an analogy to dating with this the other day. When you go on your first date, if you overwhelm the person and you talk about like how many kids you want to have and where you want to live when you're going to retire, and you basically overwhelm them with too much info, that's not very romantic, right? There has to be some time to romance, and to woo them. So I feel like live service games face that challenge. I feel like they face that challenge. It's like they have to show you and tell you and outline everything so that this is a game worth investing in. It's going to have a really long tail. But then they also have to create content rhythms and content loops and gameplay loops that also have that in it. And what that does is there's no romance. Destiny Year 1 was like an arranged marriage. It was like, well, we're stuck with this. We'll have to figure this out. And people learned to love it. And then Vault of Glass kept things going and kind of said, hey, wait, there's something special here. And then Taken King saved the franchise. I think that's why to many people Luke Smith was considered almost sacred. I considered him almost like the Moses of the franchise. He could get them out of the wilderness. I always said that. Because Taken King saved Destiny. You will never convince me otherwise. But up to that point, you have to remember it was more like an arranged marriage. It was like, well, we're stuck with this game. We'll just make the best of it. And then the Taken King was like this shot in the arm. It's really difficult to manufacture that now. There are so many games. There's just so many. So if a game were to come out now in the state that Vanilla Destiny launched, dead on arrival, absolutely non-existent. Do you want to know why I know that? Because that's what happened to Anthem. That's what happened to Anthem. You launch a game right now in the state that Vanilla Destiny launched, I don't care if you're Bungie, I don't care if you're Overwatch, I don't care if you're an angel from on high, your game will not make it. Vanilla Destiny wouldn't have made it in this current context. It would have been thrown over the shoulder, flop. It would have been a commercial disaster. And I think that that's the challenge. There was just this organic, intangible thing that took place with a vacant game that had really, really satisfying gunplay and like mysterious lore. And I think that today would struggle. Like, no one would care. There's too many games. There's just far too many. So, does Madam know this? She'll be okay. She knows that sometimes we run incentives for Friday night. Another question here from Citizen JV. Since Avowed is delayed into next year, what are the odds of it being timed exclusive like Stalker 2? I mean, listen. I don't want to get off on these tangents, but if you think there's anything that's going to maintain its exclusivity on Xbox, you're dreaming. I think everything's a timed exclusive now. If it doesn't come out as a multi-plat, then it's basically a timed exclusive. Mediocre Milton says, if Concord flops, which seems likely, and the recent changes at Bungie, do you think Marathon is at risk of being delayed, canceled? Yeah, I said yesterday, and I think I'm growing more and more convinced. I think Marathon's going to be a mistake. I think it's going to be a mistake. I can't see a hero extraction shooter going anywhere. You start putting your eggs in that basket, and you're the ones who made Halo, you're the ones who made Destiny, and you're going to make a hero extraction shooter? Okay. I don't know. It kind of feels like that movie with Joaquin Phoenix where it's like you're this brilliant actor and you could get into anything and you're going to become a rapper. Like, that's kind of what that feels like. It's like, okay, so you made Halo and then you made Destiny and then you made Destiny 2 and you've had one of the most successful live service games for almost an entire decade. You're a month away from your 10-year anniversary and you're going to make a hero extraction shooter. All right. The negativity surrounding hero shooters in Concord could have Marathon going back to the drawing board. I don't know. I truly don't know. As Madam shoutcasted before, she hasn't. You guys need 65 members to find out how good of a shoutcaster she is if you want to hit the stretch goal. We're going to be playing Fall Guys with you tonight. If you're a member, turn on those notifications. Get in our Discord if you're a member. We have a members-only Discord. You'll never miss out on the content. You'll never miss out on a member stream. Khalid says, thank goodness a Q&A is back. Which game's currently in the market that is closer or would be closer to Destiny? I think First Descendant's scratching the itch for some people. I do. It's grindy. Shooting feels good. Abilities feel okay. Nothing is excellent in the First Descendant. Nothing. It's fine. It's good. It's okay. It's a lot of good. It's a lot of fine. It's a lot of okay. And I think when you weave that all together, it's a decent game that people are having a good time with, you know. But I don't think there's anything excellent in the First Descendant. You know, they're maintaining 100,000 player peaks on Steam, so they clearly have captured some semblance of a player base that is steady. Sorcerer with the VIP says, I'll renew my VIP. I'll get us a little bit closer to that goal. 536, thank you so much. So, the skins are excellent. Yeah. Falby and Viessa and Bunnies, you know, their cheeks are excellent. Sure. But, yeah. I don't know who's making the next big looter shooter. But I tell you who I'd put my chips on. I've always said there's going to be another big looter shooter. There's going to be one that comes out and does it and pulls and is excellent and is super successful. And I tell you right now, if I was putting chips on a developer to build it, it'd be Bungie. I don't have any confidence in Concord, which is some former Bungie Destiny guys, at Firewalk. I don't have any confidence in Marathon. I have confidence in Bungie's ability to make a looter shooter. Ashen submits a question. If Destiny has been barely staying above water except for the Sicky bump, is it truly successful? Well, it depends on how you define successful. They've had a live service game for running almost a decade and have employed tons of people and even expanded over the course of that 10-year period. I don't know how you call that anything other than success. This is a cautionary tale to all live service games. Do you want to know what it is? Everything dies. Or as the Joker says, everything burns. Everything dies. What do you do with your staff? What do you do with your operating cost? What do you do with all of those things when things start to slow down? What do you do? Emissary, you're going to have to resubmit your question. You can't put a period at the end of the word question. It's just exclamation point question, space, and then type your question. It's a cautionary tale, dude. Everything dies. Everything starts to fizzle out a little bit. Always has, always will. So, that's a cautionary tale. If you're trying to build a live service game, then you got to remember that this is why I applaud what Arrowhead did when they had their surge and they had all that insane growth and interest in Helldivers 2, and they're like, you know what? We're not going to overhire. We're not going to react to this. We're not going to lose our heads. And you know what that means? Their company is far more stable and set up for the future to build another game. You know, to not suddenly have to lay off a bunch of people. They're in a really, really good spot because of that. And I think that's just something to consider. All live service games should be looking at both Helldivers 2, how quickly their numbers have slowed down, and look at Destiny even after 10 years. Look at what they're facing. They're facing, they got overly ambitious. They got too big for their britches. And here we sit. And here we sit with a game that, that a game that now has an uncertain future. I'm scheduling the second stream of the day right now. I'm going to be doing a show with Mike. The future is uncertain for Destiny now, dude. And I don't know what the plans are. I don't know D2, we're getting leaks and things that I'll look at with Mike about, future content cadence and where things are headed. But buddy, that's always going to happen. You're going to always run out of train tracks. You're always going to run out of road. I don't think there's a way to avoid it. I think this is something I've been saying about the live service games with PlayStation. I think that a lot of the live service games with PlayStation are small teams, small budget games that if they're not around in a year or two, PlayStation's okay with that. They're trying to get information and data. Helldivers 2 was such a flop. It was not a flop at all. It was insanely commercially successful, 12 million sold, and they are set for the future. It was everything but a flop. It maintained healthy player numbers for months. It was one of the top played game. It was the most played game above Counter-Strike on Steam. Calling it a flop is, you must be being sarcastic. That can't be genuine. But yeah. I think a lot of live service games should start planning on not being a forever game. If we make it to the second or third year, we'll count that as a win, and then we'll reassess the future plans. Solemn says, if Marathon flops terribly and any hope of a new Destiny title's out the door, what do you think Bungie's options are at that point? Or is it time for them to dissolve at that point? Here's what I would say. If all of those things happen, right? If Marathon flops and no Destiny future content is the reality, okay? If that's what we're headed toward, I would imagine that PlayStation would just basically bust up Bungie into a bunch of support studios or smaller studios. So, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying if Marathon flops and there is absolutely no future for Destiny, over the next course of years, I think that's what they would do. I think they would do more downsizing and layoffs, and then they would they would bust up Bungie into smaller support studios or smaller studios for smaller projects, things like that. Yeah. Nathan C says, did you ever consider a defamation suit? Yes, I was looking into it. I had cease and desist sent to a couple of people because they were targeting me for business disruption, advocating for me to lose everything. One of them used to be a preacher. That's so righteous. But basically what I was told by my lawyer is I was going to run out of money before we'd ever get to court. He said all of the preliminary stuff and the discovery process, he was like, you'd run out of money. He's like, unless you have a couple $100,000 just sitting around, he's like, it'd be a federal case. You'd run out of money. I've seen people spread the lies that I was offered the like representation for free. That's not true. I don't know where that came from. That never happened. I had a lawyer that I was paying. While I was losing thousands of dollars literally every day, I was paying thousands of dollars, a retainer to a lawyer who basically said, in situations like this, it honestly sometimes is best to take your lumps and try to rebuild. He's like, because you'll spend way more money than you probably stand to ever get. He said, you have a case. He's like, but you don't have the money for it. So that's why people scrubbed their timelines, because when it became known that when we had eyewitness testimony and concrete actual evidence that they had lied about things, a lot of those guys completely scrubbed their timelines. I think they were worried about the legal ramifications of what they had done and what they had said, since it was provably false. So they really, stood with the women and supported them as they scrubbed their timelines once it became known that they had lied. They're real men of integrity, aren't they? The generic Eric says, so safe to say, you wouldn't be down to help a guy get the platinums in Destiny 1 and 2. I can't play the game, so unless that changes. No, I'm not. I don't platinum games anyway. I agree with your take on the Naughty Dog situation, says Lyle, but does some of this new info change opinions a little bit? No. If anything, it reinforces them, Lyle. Think about it. According to employees right now, we're hearing reports that Bungie was consistently not in a great financial spot. And without Sony's buyout and merger, Bungie was going to be insolvent, according to people that are at the company. They're like, we've not been in a great financial place for a long time. Okay? That reinforces Naughty Dog's decision to not do a live service game. Jason Schreier had a great tweet. He's like, for all of the people lamenting this thing getting canceled, look at how many single-player studios tried to pivot to live service, and it was terrible. Redfall, Avengers, Kill the Justice League, Anthem. There's a graveyard of games from single-player studios that thought, well, we can do the live service thing. We can do that. No, you can't. Bungie basically said, look at what we've had to do. Look at what we've gone through. And Naughty Dog probably said, oh my gosh, we're not doing that. They basically said in their announcement, Naughty Dog would have had to have become a live service studio. They were unwilling to do that. Bungie's struggles, their financial issues, their overextending their ambition and their difficulties as a live service game absolutely 100% reinforces the decision to cancel The Last of Us Factions. And I got news for you. It should make people extremely, extremely concerned about any live service game coming out, especially ones that are incredibly thin in their concept. A 5v5 hero shooter. You got anything else in that black bag, Mr. Oz? Like, that's what you got? A hero extraction shooter. Good luck. Good luck, bro. Destiny jumped through a ring of fire like 7 different times. And you think you're going to have a successful live service game, and your concept is that you're a hero shooter? An arena hero shooter? Okay. Good luck, man. I don't know how anybody can look at the situation and listen. Right now, it wouldn't surprise me at all if over the course of the next couple of months, a lot of these companies are having like emergency meetings. Like, we need to completely change direction here. If one of the most successful live service games, if this is what happened to them, and this is what their struggles have been, and this is how close to insolvency they've been, what do we think we're going to do here? Like, we're not going to be able to work some miracle of magic. We've got to restructure. We've got to rethink this. You know? Just tell people, Lono, that you have forgiven them and move on. That's why you talk about Bungie? Do I have that right? As a Christian myself, I feel you forgive them. I mean, I don't necessarily think you have an open door to speak into what I do with my faith and forgiveness. I also think that that's a two-way street. You can release what someone's done to you, but until people admit what they did and confess to the lies, I can't really forgive them. Like, come on. Peloctor asks a question here. Lono, are there any Bungie devs or reps who actually had your back during the smear campaign a few years back, or did they all side against you? Hold your head, proud of you all these years. Hold your head, probably hold your head up. Or hold your head proud. No, you said hold your head, proud of you all these years. No, nobody did. No. A former employee reached out and confirmed a lot of my suspicions. Former and current employees spoke with RNGesus privately and confirmed a lot. So, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can categorically release something and not hold a grudge, but I will always maintain the truth. I will always maintain what happened, and that people should correct the public record, and that people should make amends, and that people should help me get back what's owed to me. If they aren't willing to do that, that's fine. That's their choice. That's how they want to live their life. If that's how they want to live their life, I believe that comes with its own consequences. Me releasing it and being like, I don't hold a grudge, I don't hold ill will, I've been arms open wide, willing to forgive people and have conversations. For years, I have said that in the public. But that doesn't mean that you budge on saying these things were done, these lies were told, and it's never been rectified. I can hold both things firmly in my hand. This is the truth. And I'm no longer holding some sort of a grudge or vengeance kick against you. I can do both. They're limiting concepts, right? One limits you from being a doormat and being flimsy and being like, oh, it's okay, you can treat me however you want. No, you hold firmly in your hand. If you've been wronged, these things were wrong. This is the truth. But you can also, so that you don't tip off into the pit of vengeance and anger and all-consuming rage, the other thing you can hold on to is, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Like, it's not up to me. It's not my job. I don't get to do that. I don't get to determine. I'm not judge and jury. The only way you're going to limit yourself from falling into the pit of vengeance and just literally uncontrollable rage and anger, believe me, I've been on the cliff. The only way you come back from that is you got to cling to something else. And that's why I'm saying, yes, I've released it. It's like, I don't hold any vengeance in my heart. I'm not out here on some revenge kick. I'm watching people get what they deserve, and I've not had to do anything. There's a difference between seeking justice and revenge. That's exactly right. Like, if you don't have those limiting concepts, you will be, like he says at the end of Civil War, when T'Challa says to the guy, you have been consumed by vengeance. It was all consuming. It directed his entire life. It became everything he cared about. And when that happens, you disappear beneath that. You don't exist anymore. You go away. I don't know what replaces you, but it's not you. So at the end of that movie, when he says vengeance has consumed you, I remember watching that and thinking, I've got to be really careful, because there's a real possibility and a real reality that you can let anger and rage get a hold of you, and it'll twist you, it'll distort you, it'll turn you into something else. Because I'm telling you that is exactly what I think so many people get caught up in. They get caught up in this cycle of, well, I'm going to get back and I'm going to get this. And it's like, and what they end up doing is they're clutching something with white knuckles that'll never make them happy. It'll never give them satisfaction. So, anyways, Elemental Hero says, do you think the Bungie voice actors have been laid off? Could there be problems for Bungie, especially with the recent news of the SAG-AFTRA strike for the voice actors? Okay, so the strike will likely be resolved in a similar way. You know, I think that it was resolved with Hollywood. I stand with voice actors and performers. They have every right to protect their likeness and their voice being used in perpetuity without being compensated. Yeah, the quote's at the end of Civil War. You got to remember, T'Challa gets introduced in Civil War. It's at the end of Civil War. He says, vengeance has consumed you. It's a wonderful line. It's beautifully said. Rest in peace, Chadwick. Like, we lost such a fantastic presence in those movies. But, yeah. He says it to the, I forget his name now. The little German guy who did the dancing in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show. Anyways, yeah, but I stand with the voice actors and the actors who want to protect their likeness. Zemo, thank you. They have every right to protect that. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has a right to enter to put out a contract that allows for that. Okay, so there are laws about contracts with respect to agencies. So an agent cannot enter into a contract where they take more than a certain amount of percentage from the work that they find you. So when I had an agent, the agent always took 10%. It is considered unlawful. It's like there's contractual law about the level of percentage that an agent can take in a contract. It would be considered an unlawful or an unenforceable contract, okay? I believe that sort of legislation needs to happen with respect to AI and people's voices and people's likeness. It should be made contractual. It should be illegal to even draw up a contract that says we're going to use your voice and likeness in perpetuity and not pay you. That should be illegal. That shouldn't even be a question. Like, that should be an illegal contract. That should not be an enforceable contract. That should be considered unethical immediately. Just the same way we have agency contract laws to protect like actors and stuff out in California. You can't go into an agency contract with somebody and take like 90% of their earnings from everything that you find for them. That's considered unethical. So I think the same thing needs to happen with AI. These people shouldn't even be able to do that. The fact that the law's behind basically is what's happening, right? The law is always behind, but the law is behind. The fact that the SAG-AFTRA strike is having to happen is literally because we need law. We don't have law right now, and we need to. That law you're referring to only applies in Cali, as far as I know. Right, because that's basically where almost all of these contracts are drawn up, Omar. That's like where, 90% of the agency and representation companies are. There are probably similar laws in New York. I'd put money on the table and bet there are similar contract laws in New York City, because there's likely similar contract and agencies drawn up there as well. The point being, we need that. I can confirm people take much higher percentage outside of California and they get away with it. Well, I think that should stop. Yeah. I think that should stop. I don't think that's ethical. I think that's gross, and it should be stopped. Government's there to protect the people, and that's what it should be doing, and stop protecting corporations. That's a whole nother topic. Necro says, how did you honestly feel when Destiny 2 introduced crafting? I wasn't able to look at the details of how it worked or have any thoughts on it because I didn't play the game at the time. I imagine it came with its own problems. It's a bit of a monkey's paw. Always will be. Right? Crafting will always be a bit of a monkey's paw. You gotta be really careful with it. You can completely... crafting can be a bucket of acid on player incentivization and content engagement patterns. It can just absolutely just burn away and dilute everything down to just nothing. I think trading and crafting are like just super dangerous to put into a game, you better proceed with caution. You better proceed with caution if you're putting crafting or trading in your game. Because water is a great analogy here, right? Players are like water. They'll take the path of least resistance. Water's wonderful, is it not? Isn't it? Life-giving. You can water plants, grow a garden. You drink it. You can swim in it. You bathe in it. You wash your clothes with it. Water is fantastic. Water is also treacherous and destructive. Water can ruin your basement. It can ruin property. It can kill people. If too much of it comes crashing into a city, it destroys property. It'll kill people. So you have to think of the player base like that. The player base is water. They will destroy your game if you let them. They will. They'll find the cracks and the crevices, and they will seep in, and they will flood, and they will ruin the foundations of your game in the blink of an eye. Look at every game that we've played over the years. Like, look at New World. How long did it take for people to find busted farms and busted glitches and exploits and trading this and trading that? Yeah, like Bruce Lee tells you to be like water. He's using the analogy differently. The player base is water, and they can either be life-giving to your game or life-draining. Seriously. I firmly believe that. Not properly channeled and contained, water is absolutely treacherous and destructive, and it's terrifying. It really is. Something that you need for life is just as terrifying as it is great. It's truly the paradox of, almost like the paradox of human existence, like the height of human genius and the depth of human depravity, right? It's like humans are fantastic. They're also terrifying. So it's like, you got to consider that with your game. You have to save the player from themselves. If you allow them to, they will run in a 5-foot circle to get everything. 30 might have said that, but I don't even know if that's original to 30. The guy that worked on the Loot 2.0 system for Diablo 3, he said that. That's where we took that. He said that when he was talking about Anthem. All right, we got to move quick here. We got some questions, and we got about 15 minutes till I'm going to go stream with Mike. Citizen JV says, do you think Marathon being a hero extraction shooter is a mistake? Yes, I do. Marathon has always been a single-player shooter and should remain that way. I don't have a history with Marathon, but I think doing anything and attaching hero shooter to it right now, it's like attaching live service to your game. It's like duck and cover. You know? People don't even want to refer to their games as live service anymore. They don't want to. They call them ongoing because they know, yeah, we got a nice live service game coming out for you. Boo! Boo! We hate live service. Sucks. Your mom. No, I'm just kidding. Like, seriously, like even saying live service now has become like a buzzword. It's like, don't say live service, say ongoing game. Say ongoing. This is like old Twitch Q&A with a wiser Lono. Well, wisdom and character are typically born out of trial and triumph, and it's not. I wouldn't say that it's fun, but it's pretty refining. I didn't rebrand haphazardly. Reforge Gaming has a deep meaning for me. Hex. What are the chances that Smith and Noseworthy were nudged out in order to truly give Destiny the reboot it needs? I'm not willing to... If we're putting money on the table, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, because it's like, I always like to just apply, Occam's razor. What is the most likely, most non-convoluted explanation, right? I feel like the most straightforward answer is the money slowed down, the future of Destiny became precarious, all future plans were either halted, shelved, or put on hold. Therefore, Luke Smith and Noseworthy were like, well, the future direction and the shakeup that you guys are facing, we don't have a home here anymore. Like that to me is the most likely. If someone was like, place your bets, Lono, which do you think happened? I'm leaning towards that like the money slowed down and all future plans for Destiny had the brake just boom pulled and it was like, whoa, we've really got to reconsider. We've really got to shake up leadership. We're not going to have the bandwidth to support your vision for Destiny spin-off or Destiny 3 or Destiny Universe, whatever they were going to call it, is irrelevant. It was stopped because the money slowed down. I think their financial problems became too shaky to continue. And I think Luke Smith and Noseworthy said, well, we're getting the frick out of here. Now, what you're guessing might have happened, right? Where they sort of nudged out. Maybe. I will say that. I'll say maybe. It's very possible. Listen, Hiroki Totoki made it very clear they were none too impressed with Bungie. They were none too impressed. And I think Sony said, you got to restructure all this. Get these people the frick out of here. What are you all doing? You got knitting classes and people doing yoga. I mean, what are we doing here? Right? You're going to have more of an East meets West philosophy clash there. Western, West Coast philosophy, more coddled, more genteel. And you have an Eastern philosophy that's like, get the frick up and get to work. What are we doing? Right? An honor-shame culture interacting with an individualistic, like, God of self-fulfillment culture. Like, I could totally see a clash there. Like, honor-shame culture, and like a more of an Eastern, more Japanese philosophy of business is going to say, shut the frick up and get to work. And Bungie is operating in a more progressive, more liberal, more West Coast environment that's more coddled, more God of self-fulfillment, more, individualistic autonomy. Right? So I could totally see Sony being like, what the heck are y'all doing? And saying, just threshing floor the leadership. And they might see Destiny as very valuable. And if you listen to the way that Sony talks about Bungie, they have very high praise for the talent. They don't really have a whole lot of praise for the leadership. They don't have a whole lot of praise for the leadership. They like the talent. Right? Look at what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep the talent. They're like, oh my gosh. It's like going to a really, really good sports team and being like, we got a lot of great players. We got to get the coaching staff the frick out of here. Right? That's what it feels like to me. So, Hex, your theory could have some merit to it. That Sony's like, listen, get these people the frick out of here. Lower operating costs, retain the talent, and let's make some dadgum video games. Right? It could be something like that. I'm open to that. Yeah. Game Informer is shutting down. That's sad. They were one of the outlets I liked. I respected them. I felt like they had good articles. I didn't feel like they were falling into a lot of the trappings of the clickbait headlines and stuff. I liked Game Informer. That bums me out a little bit. My man Detective Seeds, 26 months in a VIP. Yo, y'all, Detective Seeds totally took up for me last night on Crossfire and didn't have to. I respect you, dude. You, like, listen. In a world where we're losing valiant and brave men, I respect the way you handle yourself with certain things, Seeds. I appreciated it. I appreciated it. Mile High. Couple more questions. We got 9 minutes. 9 minutes, and we got to go to the stream with Mike. He says, with the changes to Bungie, would you be open to playing whatever heir to Destiny comes out, or would you avoid that online community that will likely follow the game? I remember a time where I was coming back to Twitter, and there were people that were like, this guy's trying to get back into the community. This guy's try to get back into the community. I would rather crawl on glass than ever go back into that community. Okay? I say that with conviction. I would never want to be back in that community ever. I have no desire for that. However, when it comes to the games and the future of Bungie, with the leadership that is currently left, I have a lot more confidence in playing their games in the future. I mean, you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone. I don't have any reason to poke any bears or start any fights. You know, let's just let the past be the past. If no one's ever going to, if no one's ever going to do the right thing and own up, that's fine. I mean, whatever. Like I said, if that's how you want to live your life, you just want to bury the lies and move on, that's fine. I think that's a sickness that comes home to roost later, but I don't have any issue with playing future content that they make. You know? D the Great says, Lono, have you jumped into the new Batman cartoon on Amazon Prime? I have not. That's way out off topic, but that's okay. Ant says, Lono, do you think Sony closing some of the smaller studios may have been to compensate for the Bungie mess? I don't know. They closed like what, London? I mean, and then what, like Naughty Dog laid off like 15 people who were contract workers or something? I just don't see it. I don't see that being related. Like, oh my gosh, we've got to lay people off. Oh my gosh, we've got to make up for the stuff that's going on with Bungie. You know? Typos? Compensate for the buggy mess. Yeah. It's all right. New Batman cartoon on Prime, any good? I don't know. I haven't had a chance to check it out. I need to buy new I don't even know if they come out. I need to buy new ear covers for these Bose headphones, dude. Like cracked, and I have like little black specks on my ears after a show. Mash says, I find it sad when a few loud, jealous, and vindictive voices drown out the thousands that loved you there. Just like with Bungie LT pushing all the top creatives. Mash, I should have been a little bit more careful in how I said that. When I'm talking about that community, like, I'm talking about the content creators and the crowds that follow them, right? The only content creator over there I have any respect for and have no problem even promoting and saying, hey, if you want to watch somebody who creates Destiny content and streams, is Astacross. The rest of them? No. Astacross? Yeah, sure. Stand-up guy. A man of integrity. Yo. Oh, hang on. I have you muted. There we go. What's up, Mike?
Is it me? Me? Man of integrity? Me?
I'll actually say it. Mike's a man of integrity and honor. He stood by me all these years.
It's because I get these really good spots on Friday talking about games. No, that's not the reason. It was for all the fame and fortune. That's what it was for.
Yeah. Nothing like attaching yourself to a sinking ship.
That's right. I was like, there goes Lono, anchor. Wrap it around me. There we go.
All right, I'm going to also give us a bit of a... Let's get a little scene here.
Mike is cut off. What happened? I haven't started drinking. I don't drink. I stopped drinking.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I haven't drank. When I go to like the conventions and stuff, you saw me down in those martinis, those big Mexican martinis and stuff like that.
Margaritas.
Margaritas, sorry. I don't do martinis.
I was like, martinis? What is this, the 50s?
I put maybe a 6-pack in my fridge, and people come over and I give them a beer. Like I don't really drink that much. I used it when I was younger.
Well, great. If I ever come over, I know that
there'll be a beer there for you. Yeah,
I'll have plenty to drink.
That's right.
Oh, that's funny. I know a lot of people have stopped. They're just like, they feel better, you know. And I've cut way back, and I feel way better. I sleep way better. Oh
yeah, I'm losing my gut. I don't have that. I still have a gut, but not as big of a gut.
Yeah, you immediately start to shed some pounds. I'm back on the bike as well. That's been helpful.
I like my martini shaken, not stirred. Yeah.
Trying to get you in this box here. There we go. Okay. Game Informer's website is already gone. Jiminy Christmas! It just happened. That's so fast.
It's a new thing. Mexican martini. Yeah, it's a new thing.
A Mexican martini. Everybody in chat's like, babe, look that up. I want to try that out.
Sounds like a good drink, doesn't it?
He's like, honey, I'm telling you, I can't find anything on Google. I don't think it exists.
What's in that? It's just a guy that's Mexican that made a martini. That's
yeah. You just got to find a bartender who's Mexican and just have him making a martini. That's it. Let's see here. What do we want to put up? We can put some trailers up on the screen here. Launch trailer. Yeah, we can put IGN.
Even if there was Mexicans in the chat, I'm not being racist. It's literally they're Mexicans. That's where they're from, Mexico. They're Mexicans.
How dare you? How dare you say that that's a person from that country?
I don't understand.
I can't believe I would have somebody of such uncouth behavior on my channel.
What do you mean, those people?
What do you mean, you people?
What do you mean?
Huh? That's one of the best scenes because, like, RDJ doesn't even look back. He just kind of stands there. He's like, huh? I love all the memes about him playing T'Challa. I think that's, out of the Doctor Doom announcement, that's got to be one of the funniest things that come out of it. They're like, well, I guess we're just going to have RDJ play everybody now.
Did you see the poster that someone put up? They have his face on everything. Yeah,
on everybody. He's Scarlet Witch. He's everybody.
I'll be honest. I would watch it. I would watch it.
Like, the internet's undefeated. The internet is undefeated. Like the way that all went is been the best. I think it's all in good humor because I think it'll be fine. But I also think people are like, really.
Mexican is a slur? Well, I have a thumbs up for you.
Oh my gosh.
Did you see that? That thumbs up now is passive aggressive.
My wife hates when I do that. I've done that in a restaurant because, like, I have a mouth.
Because you're eating.
I have a mouthful of food, and they're like, "Is it okay?" And I'm like, "Well, this is a little like, but like thumbs up, like, oh yeah, it's good." I give them a little eyebrow raise too. I'm like, yeah, it's great.
What were you supposed to do? This? Like, what do you?
I think what I'll just start doing is I'll stand and clap with my mouth full, like, and they're like, "Sir, that's just not necessary."
Yeah, really. You just start bowing.
Bowing.
You get up, push your chair back. You're like
mime, just like miming, like, I'll sit them in a cube. All right.
How's your burger, sir? Can't give thumbs up. It's like, what?
You spell it out. You pull out an iPad, write it.
Can I get your number for a second? Hold on. Text you. There you go.
Yeah, what Fuzzy just put in the Discord, that's a pretty funny one. That's pretty good.
Throw money at them. How's your burger, sir? Take a wad of cash and just throw it at the waiter. Microaggression. Stop.
I think
putting micro in front of everything and pluses.
Well,
right?
I think
microtransaction, microaggression, PlayStation Plus, Apple Plus, it's always pluses and micro. Like what?
I think the term microaggression is a microaggression. So checkmate. Can't say anymore. So sorry. Thank you, Ant, for gifting a member. Checkmate. I win. Everything's offensive. You can't talk and only I can. Yes.
I'm offended that you're offended.
Okay, let's get I'm going to send some tweets. I'm going to take a quick break. You can talk to chat for a teeny bit. Guys, we're talking about the future of Destiny. It's uncertain. No one knows what the heck is going on. And, yeah.
What happened? What happened to Bungie? I didn't hear anything.
That should be the show. You're like, you got to let me know what's going on here. Like, and I just tell you, and you're like, oh my gosh.
That's that. What?
This is shocking.
What? Luke Smith is not there anymore? What?
What's going to happen?
He was my favorite.
You just get too emotional and you leave the show.
I can't. I just can't do this. I'm very upset right now.
So gaming.
I feel blindsided.
We're like, man, this guy really doesn't pay attention to gaming news. He needs to figure that out. All right, I'll be right back, guys. You can talk to Mike. See you in just a minute.
See what you're saying, chat. I get a macro aggression. That would escalate fast. Yeah, I don't want to cannibalize the show before we do the show. Let's go on, Turtle. Yeah, like, how could this happen? Yeah, you guys watching the Olympics? What's happening there? Blink twice if Alona's holding you hostage. Mega aggression. Only partially offensive. Thanks, Dark Taco. What is happening with the Olympics? Like, they're throwing swimmers into a non-sanitary river and then throwing up afterwards. Like, what? We got men punching women in the face. What? Like, what is happening? Yeah, it's crazy, Harlem. It's crazy. It's a disgrace. It really is. Remember the Olympics when they first started was just about like the honor and like the respect of like the countries, right? It wasn't televised. It wasn't like monetized in any way, shape, or form. It was just the best of the best competing against the best of the best. And now it's this like marketing machine and all this other stuff, and it's just what a disgrace. I love the Olympics. Well, I used to love the Olympics. Yeah, well, the Olympics, when it started back in the 1900s, right? Early century, right? It was about just the competitiveness. That's what it was. Nothing more, nothing less. Just best of the best athletes, running track, and there was nothing. It was just about the honor. And now it's a joke. It's a joke. Talk about the Olympics, Lona. Like the craziness that's going on over there with.
I'm completely tuned out to it because we watch the recaps on Peacock, and so like my daughter's thrilled, like just
right. So you see the highlights and stuff. You don't hear like people swimming in like the crap water and like throwing up afterwards.
Yeah, like the guy like throwing up afterwards. I was like, what the frick? I was like, we're watching Simone kill it and get a gold. Like my daughter's all like, I want to get into gymnastics now. Do you think I could get into the Olympics? I'm like, girl, I was like, settle down.
She could.
Usually, though, I mean, we would have had to start.
They're already they've already been doing it for like 5 years.
Yeah, she's 10, so I said, "You're too old, too old to begin the training." So she's a great swimmer, though. My daughter's a really good swimmer from like her swim lessons and stuff. She's like, "Well, I could do that," and I was like, "Actually, maybe." I was like, "You could." I know people that got like scholarships to schools and stuff swimming because I think it's a less competitive. Not that it's not competitive; it's a less less populated. Yeah, that's the wrong word.
Well, you live where you live in Florida. Everyone swims. Everyone's
right. Yeah. Up here, it would be competitive, but it would be a less populated field. Like you try to get into football or basketball, and it's like everybody's trying to play those.
They're literally building about 25 minutes away from me. They're building an Olympic city over here, so where all the Olympic athletes come and train all year round.
Lono casually crushing her dreams. I've always shot straight with my daughter. I'll be like, nah, I told my son, he's like, I really want to play basketball. And I'm like, I think you're built for soccer, bud. you're my son.
Spud Webb. He was short. He could do it.
Okay. You're not just short, buddy. You're white. You're posting pics for the rest of your life, but let's focus on soccer.
Posting pics.
Oh,
man. That could be the driving factor, though. He could be winning rewards later in life and be like, my dad told me I couldn't do it. I showed him.
That
true. Could be it. He could be like Tom Brady, where he's got that driving force on his shoulder. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like you're never gonna make it. Now he's the best of the best.
Our county actually has really good swim programs. Yeah, she's good at. She loves it. She had to master the flip in the water and like kick off the wall. That was the thing she struggled with the most. But everything else, she's done so good with. I've been really impressed. So my son's gonna be able to.
Kill shot. I'm in the Central Florida area.
My son's just so naturally funny and entertaining, and he can kind of do whatever he wants. Like he's just kind of like he's kind of gifted in that way. Like I'm like, dude, basketball. Like, come on.
My nephew, he just turned 9. The kid's he's a monster, dude. Like monster. He's built like a tank, right? He's 9 months younger than my son, and he's like 5 inches taller. Okay, like he comes up to like here on me, and he weighs like 100 pounds already, and he's just stout, dude. And I'm like, this. He's a lineman. Like his father's a big football fan. He's like, yeah, he's gonna be on that front line. His destiny's already been set for him. Like he knows what he's gonna be.
Yep. We don't need brutes and warriors anymore. So this is what you're built for, dude.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna slide you over just a touch. Give me a test sentence of I've not been watching the volume. Like, hey, I'm Mike, 30 and Still Gaming.
Hey guys, 30 and Still Gaming here. We're talking about the downfall of Bungie.
All right, guys, I am going to spam a link in chat. Do me a favor. Sometimes these second streams, man, they're tough because people keep lurking and they forget to press like. So really quickly right now, a great way to get ready is press like on this video. You haven't done that yet. I know that. Some of you haven't. Let's hit 400 likes on this video. And then we go over to the new video. Go crazy. Right now, I owe you guys 5 members. I'll give those members when we get over there. You do need 60-something members for the stretch goal, but you did get the community game night goal. So we are going to be playing some Fall Guys tonight, but you can make myself and Madam shoutcast your gameplay tonight if you hit the stretch goal. So if you guys want to do that during the next show, feel free, but take a brief second, stop lurking, and hit the like button, and then click the link in chat. We're going to head over to this new stream. I'm going to redirect you as well, talking about the future of Destiny. Thanks so much for checking out this video. We are going to be talking about the future of Destiny in the wake of Bungie layoffs, learning that whatever was next for Destiny, whether it was called Destiny 3 or just the next Destiny, it has been shelved. Leaders at the company gone, like Mark Noseworthy and Luke Smith, calling into question what exactly is the future for the franchise. And I've done shows with Mike from 30 and So Gaming about Destiny since I've known him, for almost 10 years now. So this was undeniably what we needed to talk about, and we covered the layoffs, but I really wanted to discuss specifically the future of the franchise with him. I'm going to end the previous stream, which was a show about gaming news this week, and it largely centered on Destiny and Q&A. I'm going to end that and redirect people over. Thank you guys so much for the support. So Mike, man, thanks so much for being here. Glad to have you back on the show.